Hello there, I'm Black Bright News, and I just wanted to talk about the warning we've been given to stock up on food. So, should we be worried? The government wants Britons to stock up on food. So, good morning, good afternoon, and good night, wherever you are in the world. And I want to talk to you about something that caught my attention this week. A headline saying UK to warn citizens to stock up on food amid threat from climate crisis and hostile states. I thought, excuse me, what exactly do you know that I don't know? And I suspect I'm not the only person who had that reaction. The British government is preparing to launch a campaign encouraging households to become better prepared for emergencies. That includes having basic supplies such as tinned food, bottled water, available at home, and the reasons being given are not just one thing. We are talking about extreme weather caused or intensified by climate change, flooding, heat waves, wildfires, and drought. But alongside those environmental risks, the government is also concerned about cyber attacks, disruption to critical infrastructure, and the possibility of hostile states trying to cause disruption. And yes, when you put all of those things together, it sounds rather frightening, but apparently it is about preparedness. In other words, the message is not go to the supermarket tomorrow and clear the shelves, which is what people tend to do, regardless of whether you tell them to do it or not. It's more, if something happens that temporarily disrupts normal life, don't assume that everything will continue to work exactly as it's working today. And actually, that is quite a sensible message, because let's think about what modern life depends on. We expect electricity to be there when we flick a switch, water comes out when we turn on the tap, we go to the supermarket and expect the shelves to be replenished, we put our bank card into the machine and expect our Wi-Fi, networks, mobiles and telephones to work. God forbid we can't get online or use our bank cards. Can you imagine? We order something online and expect somebody somewhere to put it in a van and bring it to our door. We have become incredibly dependent on systems working harmoniously and continuously. Some of us kick up a stink when it doesn't arrive on the day it's supposed to, so can you imagine if it doesn't arrive at all? So emergencies have a nasty habit of reminding us that those systems are not magic. They are networks, and networks can be disrupted. And when you think about Nepal, there was a lot of disruption. We already seen examples of this when we've experienced fuel shortages, we've experienced supermarket shortages, we've seen what happens during the pandemic when certain everyday items suddenly become difficult to find. We've seen extreme weather disrupt roads, railways, electricity and water supplies. And just recently, there have been concerns about cyber attacks affecting British infrastructure. The government has also been reassessing how prepared Britain would be if international conflict were to have consequences here at home. So should we be frightened and panic buy, or should we pay attention? Please don't go and buy 47 tins of baked beans because you have misinterpreted my message and think the world is ending. That isn't what I'm saying. In fact, panic buying can make a difficult situation worse, because those who can afford to buy, they buy large quantities, and they can strip the shelves much faster than people who have to shop week by week. So what does being prepared actually mean? Well, let's start with food that you already eat. Tinned vegetables, beans, soup, rice, pasta, cereal, long life milk, tea and coffee. Because let's be honest, some of us might consider the loss of electricity manageable, but take away our cup of tea and there could be a national emergency. So keep a modest supply of foods that have decent shelf life and that you know your household will actually use. And don't buy everything at once. When you do your ordinary shopping, buy 1 or 2 extra long life items occasionally. Over time, you build up a small reserve without spending a fortune. Water is another sensible consideration. You don't need your living room looking like a warehouse, but having some bottled drinking water available in an emergency is not unreasonable. Then think beyond food. Do you have a torch? Do you have spare batteries? Can you change your mobile phone if the electricity goes off? Do you have essential medication? Do you have important telephone numbers written down somewhere rather than relying entirely on your phone? Because what happens if your phone battery dies? Well, the numbers won't be of any use, will they? And here's another one. Keep a little cash at home, not hundreds or thousands of pounds under the mattress, just enough to deal with a temporary situation if card payments or cash machines aren't working. And perhaps most importantly, know what the risks are where you live. If you live in an area that is vulnerable to flooding, know your flood risk. If you live somewhere that has experienced extreme heat, know how you will keep yourself cool. Know how you receive emergency alerts. Know where your household would meet if you became separated. And perhaps have a conversation with your neighbours, because here's something we sometimes forget. Resilience isn't only about what we keep in our cupboards. It is also about the people around us. Who lives next door? Is there an elderly person who might need help? Does somebody nearby live alone? Is there somebody with mobility problems? Because in a genuine emergency, communities often become the first line of support. And this is where I think we need to have a mature conversation about what the government is telling us. We shouldn't dismiss these warnings as scaremongering, but neither should we interpret them as a prediction that disaster is just around the corner. Governments have a responsibility to prepare for things that may never happen. That's what responsible governments are supposed to do. The fire brigade doesn't wait for your house to catch fire before buying a fire engine. We don't wait for a pandemic before thinking about infectious disease, and we shouldn't wait for a major flood, cyber attack, power outage, or supply disruption before asking ourselves, what would I actually do? At the same time, I think there is another question we should be asking. If the government is telling ordinary households to become more resilient, what is the government doing to make Britain itself more resilient? Are our food supply chains sufficiently protected? Are our water systems protected? Is our energy infrastructure secure? Are our hospitals prepared? Are our communication networks protected from cyber attack? Are local authorities properly resourced to respond when something goes wrong? Because resilience cannot simply mean telling ordinary people, keep some tins in the cupboard. The infrastructure supporting those tins also need to be resilient. And perhaps that is the bigger conversation. Climate change isn't something that happens somewhere else. Extreme weather can affect food production, transport, water supplies, energy prices, as we've learned from the Nepal floods. Hostile states don't necessarily have to send tanks across the border to cause disruption. In the modern world, cyber attacks, disinformation, and attacks on critical infrastructure can create enormous problems without a single soldier setting foot on British soil. So yes, I think we should take this warning seriously and sensibly. It means having a little food in the cupboard, a little water, a household plan, and understanding of the risks around us. It means looking after ourselves and looking out for each other, because if history has taught us anything, it is that ordinary people are remarkably capable when circumstances demand it. So don't panic, don't empty the supermarket, don't start building a bunker in the back garden. Just become a little more prepared than you were yesterday. Because preparedness isn't about expecting the worst, it's about making sure that if the worst does happen, we're not completely helpless. And perhaps that is the real message behind this government warning. Not be afraid, but be ready. And I think that's a message worth listening to. So this is Black Bright News. Stay informed, stay thoughtful, look after yourselves, and wherever you can, look after each other. So I hope you found that useful and helpful, and I hope it doesn't cause any alarms. I just thought I should bring it to the surface because I did see it in the newspaper and it has been verified. So, I'm not fear-mongering or anything like that. So you can check it out and find out for yourself what you need to do. I'm just the messenger. So you take care now. And like I said, take care of each other. Be good. Bye-bye. And don't forget, I'm on Lovers Rock Radio 7 till 9, Fridays. And Gold Standard Radio 7 till 9 on Saturdays. Bye for now. Bye bye.